Hello, Daniel here from Great Ocean Road Chiropractic with the Monday movement for this week. Again, we're very lucky to have Dr. Damian Kristof with us this week. If you didn't see my rundown on who Damian is, then go back to last week's Monday movement video and check that out. For this video, what I'd like to ask Damian about is for some information around some common supplements that we often get asked about in our chiropractic office.
Yep.
So Damo, there are three supplements that I often get asked about.
Yep.
And that have become really popular. The first is magnesium.
Yeah.
Everyone's on magnesium, having magnesium baths and foot soaks and droppers in the mouth and everything. So tell us about magnesium.
Yeah, look, magnesium is a great mineral, but so are all the other minerals. And what's interesting is that it would be about 15 years ago, one of the supplement manufacturers announced that pretty much everybody on the planet was deficient in magnesium. And I suppose if you're a skeptic like I am, you kind of ask the question, how could we all be deficient in magnesium? And it concerns me a little bit. It's a little bit short-sighted potentially to think that just because you get a cramp or just because you can't sleep or just because your muscles are tight, that magnesium is the deficiency. However, it is possible that that is the case. A short period of time of supplementation for magnesium could actually alleviate some of those conditions where you might have insomnia, tight muscles, cramping, those sorts of things. But if it continues over a long period of time and you have to take magnesium for probably longer than 3 or 6 months, it's highly likely that it's not magnesium that's the problem. Or maybe you have a malabsorption issue. Potentially your gastrointestinal system moves too quickly. So, you know, maybe there's other minerals like calcium, for example. And, you know, look, I'm going to be a little bit contentious here because most of us don't drink as much cow-based product as what we used to. We don't eat as much dairy as what we used to. We don't take in as much calcium as what we used to. And we do have issues now with calcium and magnesium imbalances. But to say that it's just calcium and magnesium in two minerals, again, kind of does injustice to the periodic table because each of these nutrients are required to keep the body going. So a multi-mineral is probably more appropriate as opposed to just magnesium, if that makes sense.
Cool. But a magnesium trial is not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing to do. It's not a bad thing to do. You can jump in a bath of magnesium, you can take some oral magnesium. The right source of magnesium is important. So some people bang on about magnesium citrate, some people talk about magnesium oxide. The magnesium bisglycinates and diglycinates appear to be the best absorbed and the most functional ones. The magnesium oxides are really good for moving your bowels. So different magnesiums for different functions, and ask your health practitioner, particularly Daniel, because he's an expert.
And I'll ask Damo.
Ask him which one is the most appropriate one for what you're trying to achieve, because what you're trying to achieve with your bowels is different to sleep and is different to muscle tightness. So they're all specific types of magnesium.
Absolutely. Damo, another really hot supplement at the moment, well, over the past couple of years, have been probiotics. Can you maybe tell us a little bit about probiotics, maybe touch on the wide range of probiotics and also how they might relate to people who have maybe got a long history of taking heaps of antibiotics or maybe considering taking some antibiotics now?
All right, so that's about a 3-hour seminar, so let's get going. I'll try and do this in about 50 seconds. Probiotics are bacteria that stimulate the other bacteria in the gut to grow. Now, we call the bacteria in the gut or on the body the microbiome, and the microbiome is influenced by the environment. That's the environment out and about us, and then the environment that's inside of us and on us. And we can alter that by taking different things into our body. So food, for example, chili will alter our microbiome. Garlic will alter our microbiome. And to positively alter our microbiome in terms of improving or increasing quantity or production or multiplication of different strains of bacteria, we take a probiotic and we can take a prebiotic. The prebiotic is the food for the probiotic. And a probiotic is a bacteria. What's becoming more, or let's say increasingly more important, is the strain specificity of the bacteria that you take, because we're now more aware of the effects of individual strains of bacteria.
Right.
So we know back in the old days we used to use lactobacillus, acidophilus, for example, and that would help people with eczema.
Yep.
And so the very, very first early days of probiotics 20 years ago was really just to help kids with eczema.
Yeah.
And then what we learned is that there's other functions that we could help with: irritable bowel, we could help with flatulence. We now know we can help with hay fever and allergies, peanut allergies being cured with certain types of probiotics. We're seeing irritable bowel syndrome sufferers, being cured as a result of using the appropriate strain probiotics. There's different types of strains of now yeast supplements that we can actually take as well. So certain types of yeast can actually cure candida overgrowth and fungal overgrowth like that. So it's important to use strain-specific probiotics because they actually have a function within the body or within the microbiome that then lends weight to a healthier gastrointestinal flora. And that's what's important. But they are trendy at the moment. People talk about fermented foods, kimchi, sauerkraut, kefir, kombucha, which that's contentious because, unless you're making your own, most of the bottled ones contain absolutely no probiotic function.
Is that right? I didn't know that.
Yeah, and the ones that do, you really only need a small amount. So the ones that do contain probiotics in them, and there's probably only one or two commercial brands that do actually contain bacteria in them, you only need about 25 mils a day. You don't need 375 mils of a kombucha product every single day. That's a supplier or manufacturer driven serving size. So 25 mils would be more than enough, and that would give you a nice little top up of some probiotics if you're getting a probiotic kombucha, because the ones that contain stevia, they're not probiotic.
No good.
Well, they just don't contain, what are they, anyway, in order to stop it from fermenting, if it's got a long shelf life on it, it's been pasteurized. In other words, that means there's no probiotic culture in it. If it's lasting for longer than 2 weeks, it's highly likely that there's no probiotic culture in there.
That makes sense. Yeah.
It has to continue to ferment, right?
Yeah. And the one last supplement that I would like to ask you about, and if you could just give us like a good, bad, maybe when you should consider it, is a good quality fish oil.
That's a great question, DJ.
It's sort of really popular a few years ago.
Yeah.
But I feel like kombucha and magnesium have maybe overtaken it.
Yeah, I know. From a trend, turmeric's the other one. It's really trend magnetized too. Fish oil has a number of different benefits, and you tend to find the supplements that do the most good, you tend to find have the most amount of research as well. So fish oil is one of the highest or most researched nutrient supplements on the market. And every now and then a study pops up that says that it's no good. And there's a study just the other day that made it to the news. Again, Australian news, very pro-pharma, anti-integration. And they promoted that fish oil doesn't work. Well, it actually does work. And there's more studies to show that it does work than studies that show that it doesn't work. But again, it's the type of fish oil that you use and the amount of active components in the fish oil capsule or liquid that you're taking. So you're looking for the EPA DHA component of the fish oil as a general broad spectrum approach to taking fish oil. The EPA component is mildly anti-inflammatory and taken over a long period of time is beneficial for inflammation within the body. The DHA component of fish oil is probably the most potent part. It's very good for the nervous system. It's terrific for helping children with their concentration. It's unbelievable as a nerve regenerator. DHA has also been shown to help remodel capillaries and remodel arteries where there might be cholesterol formation and hardening of the arteries. So DHA is a very, very important component and it's very, very good for memory. So I love to use DHA. I take DHA on a daily basis myself and it's very, very good. It's an extracted portion of an extracted oil from fish that have been caught in a wild environment. So salmon that have been farmed are very low in omega-3 fatty acids. In fact, they're very high in omega-6 fatty acids. And fish oil is supposed to be rich in omega-3 fatty acids. That's what it's supposed to be. So you don't want farmed versions of fish oil. It's got to be the wild versions. And you want more than 30% of the active component in the capsule for efficacy. And if you're having a liquid, you want at least 50% and possibly up to 60% if you can get it. And there are certain brands that do contain as much as 60% EPA DHA per mil in the capsule or in the liquid too.
That is awesome. Thank you so much for your help again, mate.
You're welcome, mate.
Where can people hear more from you on the Wellness Guys podcast?
Yeah, every week there's free podcasts that
Yep.
go out. The Wellness Guys, 100 Not Out, 2 podcasts there.
Yep.
There's over 700 episodes there now that people can actually listen to. So there's truckloads there. And
Triple M?
Triple M, you can listen to Tune In Triple M on Friday afternoon with JB and Billy. I'll join them every 3 weeks. And you can go to their podcast too, and you can listen to the shows that we've done with them. Or you can go to my website, damiankristof.com, and DJ's got a link to that on his website, so you can actually see that. So you can link to the website through there. You can find
That
it
link will be up there very, very quickly.
And also foragecereal.com. You can go to Forage Cereal and find me there.
And check that out. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your Monday and the rest of your week. We will be back next Monday with the Monday Movement. For now, enjoy yourself, and I'll see you then.